Hello, welcome. It's Monday. I'm back. Yes, I'm back from the lurgy, which I'll talk more about later. But first, here's a great dance track to start off our typical session. Yes, as we all know, these are a favourite of mine. It's Basement Jacks. Yes, that was Basement Jacks? Beg your pardon. After a brilliant start here. That was Basement Jacks. One of my favourite dance bands, I think, with Where's Your Head At, of course. One of the most famously creepy songs, videos I have ever seen. Putting human faces on monkeys is terrifying. And, you know, if you were to go down the sci-fi route, a good reason not to experiment with genetics. What else have we learned? No, so hello, welcome, it's Monday, I'm hitting microphones, I'm screwing up my words, it must be me. It's Georgia on Eclectic Airwaves. Hi, how you been? I took last week off because I had the lurgy. I managed to catch some kind of cold flu hybrid malarkey that just filled me with horrible feeling stuff and made me feel awful. It was atrocious. No, I dramatised, but it wasn't very pleasant. So, wrap up warm, kids. It is now cold enough that you can get ill. I mean, you can get ill any time of year, but now is the time. Everybody forgets. Like, oh, it's not cold enough to need a scarf yet. Put the scarf on. Go out with a coat. Your mum's right. Always take a coat. Your mum is always right on that one. So, I'm still a bit chesty. I apologise if I cough during the show. I'll try and turn away from the mic, but beware, I'm still feeling it a little bit. I am much better though, so thank you for all the well wishes that I got. I also got your requests, so don't worry, we've got some of those coming up. Yes, they're on the list. And for those of you who want to send a request in, please send one in at our Facebook page, which is Eclectic Airwaves. On Facebook, it should come up under that. And words and stuff. Slightly cabbage still. I think I ate too much at dinner and I've got that weird sleepy lethargy. It's not like the food coma that Americans seem to go into after Thanksgiving and that we go into after Christmas. You know, where you just don't move and you sit in front of a horrible, horrible film you've seen far too many times and as a result have Stockholm Syndrome for the thing. See here, several films. I don't do that. I have excellent taste in films, which is why my Christmas film is, you know, the Star Wars series. The original trilogy, usually. Yeah, nerd cred. No nerd cred here. No, we haven't. But we do have a request. So here is U2, seeing as you didn't give me a song, I've decided to pick one out for you, and I chose Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. Brilliant track. Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For by U2. U2, brilliant track. If only I could pronounce their names, huh? So, there's your request for my lovely mum back home in North Wales. I hope the rain's treating you okay, because I know part of the problem with rain in anywhere in Wales, and most of the UK, is that things tend to flood. Because there's a lot of flat land, a lot of seaside, a lot of rivers, so everybody take care. Everybody back home take care. Now, if you want to add stuff to your CV, now is the time to volunteer for the Red Cross, because with winter coming up, a lot of things happen, a lot of unfortunate events. And with Britain having hurricane warnings and threats of the coldest winter in years, we're going to need a lot of help. So if you have some extra time, do sign up. And I know I keep saying this, but it is worth repeating. It is so worth helping other people out with this. I'm going to detour slightly from that with less helping people out and more helping myself out. Because I'm about to flog something I did. If you'll give me a moment of your precious time, I would like to introduce you to a band that I really like. I'm so excited. As some of you know, a couple of weeks back, Morgan, who does Musique de l'Europe, a brilliant show which I've shouted out before, and I went to see a gig, and these kids are incredible. The youngest is 16, and he just passed his GCSEs, and we got the chance to interview them, and they're all between the ages of 16 and 18, and they're great. I mean, they supported at Glastonbury, they were at Dr. Dot, the band's only been going a year, so there's some pretty hot tread, if you'll excuse the awkward phrase. But no, they're very exciting and very rock. So if you're interested in the kind of how dead the rock scene has been, despite the fact that Fall Out Boy used a brilliant sample of the Munsters' introduction in their biggest recent hit, Uma Thurman, which didn't make any sense, honestly. If you check out the lyrics, which I do far too frequently and get criticised for, you'll note that Uma Thurman doesn't go with the Munsters at all. It doesn't make sense within itself most of the time. Anyway, that's a critique on a different topic. Derailed. Yes, I'm about to introduce you to Pretty Vicious, who are great. Now, I'll share the interview, which you can go listen to after the show, or you can stay tuned for Gwillem, or any number of things. But if you're going to check it out, I do have to give fair warning that there is some offensive language in it, because the Welsh are known to swear. No, they're quite relaxed lads, and you catch the occasional swear word from one or two of them, so if you're easily offended, be warned. But this is their currently most well-known single. They're working on an album right now, fingers crossed, so I'll be looking forward to that if it comes out and when they release some new singles. But this is National Plastics by Pretty Vicious.
Listening to Frequency. UCLAN's student station, run by students, for students.
Yes, the jingle's back. I know I say that every week, but I love that jingle. It's so nostalgic at this point. It doesn't feel right to use the other one. I will be, though, because I drive myself potty. Yeah, so Pretty Vicious. Need I remind you, all of that was 16 to 18-year-olds. You may now feel useless at whatever you're doing. Yeah, so they're really exciting. They've done a lot of stuff, and you can check them out in the interview. On to a different note, as I was coughing up a lung in between songs, I was just thinking about how much I love cooking. And this is going to sound weird. I promise there is a linking point between these two. I really love to cook. It's something, luckily, I've inherited from my parents, who are both good cooks, despite the fact that my mother once set a poppadom on fire. I remember that clearly, Mum. That's how you learn that fire safety is not necessarily, stomping on it, but throwing a towel over it and then stomping on it. Not a fireproof towel, just your regular tea towel. Don't burn your feet through your slippers. Yes, but I love cooking. It's something I've really... I always have too many spices in my cupboard, to the point now where we have a secondary cupboard that's kind of gone spare in our kitchen, and it's just full of my stuff. Because I have too many things, because I have pots, and I have loads of spices, and soy sauce, and mirin, and sake, and all sorts of interesting stuff, and huge tubs of paprika and garlic powder. But I've taken over that cupboard, and it shows. I've lost... I like cooking. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I could tell I was so ill last week because I actively didn't want to cook. Now, I've had flu-like symptoms before where I threw up because my fever was so high. I've been lying on the couch shivering on so much painkillers. But I always wanted to cook. And this weekend, I didn't. I went until... I woke up I of course screwed up my sleep cycle, because you always do when you're ill, and I went for about 5 hours without eating anything after waking up because I just wasn't hungry. I felt so awful. Now that never happens. I'm always hungry. To the point of my own detriment. I've had stomach bugs before now and eaten and regretted it immensely. But I didn't want to cook. I didn't want to eat, and it's so strange and bewildering that I thought I'd share, because it's been a long time since I've not wanted to eat. Not wanting to cook I do, but then once I'm cooking I'm quite happy with it. It's just getting started and cleaning all the dishes we have. But I just did not want to, and it made me a little bit sad. But to balance out that sadness, here's a really cheery tune that you'll remember from the time when Pop Idol was a real thing. Not just X Factor. I'm talking Will Young, Gareth Gates, and Darian, whatever his name was. This is... I forget who covered it. I've played it on the show. It's Top Loader with Dancing in the Moonlight, a song everyone forgets about because it sounds like a lullaby. Dancing in the Moonlight, Top Loader. Yeah. I really like that track, and apparently it was Darius. Apparently he didn't have a second name. No, he was just Darius. And my mother claims we went to see him in a gig, though I don't remember seeing Darius. I do remember seeing Lamar and being very upset in my tiny... I must have been 15, if that. I remember seeing Lamar and being very upset when he didn't choose me to slow dance with, because I was a good dancer, and curse you, attractive man, for not choosing me. But that was a fun gig. I must admit, if he's still touring, I'd probably go and see him again, because I'm sure his singing voice has aged well. And he'd probably have, less 2004 songs to sing, because 50/50 is so 2004 R&B. Go back and listen to it. That stuff sounds like Nelly, minus the weird half rap that Nelly does. Yeah, but you'd forgotten about Nelly. That's nearly a decade ago. In fact, that's over a decade ago. Feel old with me. I've been having a lot of that recently. I've been looking back on music, and I do it quite a lot anyway, but just the amount of stuff is... It is a decade ago. I was 10 when this came out. That's terrifying. I wasn't even in high school. Oh, dear. I'm going to say, one of the worst things about being a radio DJ when you've got a cold is that singing along to songs makes your throat hurt and makes you want to cough more. It's making me a little bit sad inside. So, on a more cheery note, because I'm keep this cheery, because Mondays are hard to get through. I feel you. I've got a lecture tomorrow at 9, don't worry. But I wanted to bring up an interesting event, which is apparently Diwali is next Tuesday. Now, for those of you who don't know, Diwali is the Festival of Light. It's a Hindu festival, and it's really cool. It'll also be why you'll be annoyed with fireworks for the next week anyway. So if people are letting stuff off, it could be a couple of stragglers, or it could be some people who are just excited to get to the festival light party going. I also hear there was a parade down the middle of town this week. I don't know what it was. I probably should have looked it up. That would have been interesting to talk about, but I didn't. But yes, Diwali. And the UCLan SU are holding a celebration. Now you have to pay, I think it's £7. That might be wrong. It might be a tenner. Somewhere in that price range. And they're doing a 3-course meal, dancing with a DJ. They might be doing some games and stuff, but it'll all be held in the SU. So if you're interested in getting a bit cultured, maybe give it a shot. And not really on the cultured side of things, but I do remember hating this song as a child because it was boring and bland. Having grown up, I've realised it's just classic rock. This is Animals with House of the Rising Sun for my dad back home.
This is Frequency Radio.
Yes, Frequency Radio. Sorry, I can't help but get distracted by the jingles. It's so familiar. I know I've said that already. Still slightly coldy, please forgive repetition. This would be helpful when it would be a time to have a helpful co-host, so I could just vanish and go and cough it out for a little bit. I'll grab a hot drink, because I didn't bring a flask. I have a water bottle. It's a shame it makes me cough more, because it's cold. Lesson learned, future notice. So I'm going to bring it up, because it is all over the news, it is ridiculous, it affects me, so if you're easily offended or squeamish about totally normal topics, please kindly come back in 3 minutes. The refusal of tax reduction on luxury items. Yeah, this is where it's going. Because it's annoyed me. It frustrates me. Because, and it's been everywhere. A girl went to stand outside Parliament and did not use luxury items, and as a result has gotten quite internet famous, and people are supporting her with good cause. The only thing that annoys me is she said she wanted to get on BuzzFeed in the original post, and I know that's petty, but please stop using a very good protest for vanity broadcasting purposes, because I appreciate that you're broadcasting for something that affects us, but please stop. But I believe Russell Howard said it best when saying, they're tampons, not Ferrero Rocher. He also listed a fun number of things that are not taxed as luxury items, including toffee apples, which was nice to hear. You know, all the practicality in the world, but good heavens, let's not increase the charge of bonfire night. No. Although apparently there has been a disappointing lack of toffee apples this year at bonfire nights. Apparently it must just be a northern thing, but I'll have you know I'm rather northern, dear sir. And we had toffee apples where I grew up. I can't get any more north. I'd fall into the sea. So kindly take your southernism and stick it, because toffee apples are great and all, but things like toffee apples, Jaffa cakes, chocolate should probably be taxed, whereas certain items, maybe not so much. Some other things I can think of that interested me in the news this week was the most redundant title, which is Woman Dies in Euthanasia Clinic, which I'll admit is a little morbid for me to laugh at, but it was the redundancy in it. But yes, the first hospital in the UK is actually in my home country of Wales, has opened up a euthanasia clinic. And a woman has chosen that way out, and her, I believe, granddaughters said, we support this, we raised the funds ourselves, it was done through fundraising for this woman, and they'd do it all over again. It's always something I've stood on the side of. I know a lot of people can be squeamish about it, and it's kind of a heavy topic for, 9:30 on Monday, but it's something I'd like to raise, because if you have any opinions on this, do send them in, because I think it's an interesting topic to discuss. And here's something that leaves no wiggle room. It is Elvis. Yes, the king himself has bringing you some of his own concerns.
You're listening to Frequency. UCLAN student station. Run by students, for students.
Elvis, that was a request for Alex out in Manchester. There you go. A little bit of the king to ease you into the next quarter of an hour while we're still here. And I just wanted to bring something else up that's been bugging me, and it's no doubt something you've heard for most people you've met, except for those unabashedly cheerful people. What is the obsession with Christmas? I mean, I get it, it's November, okay, I'll give you credit now. It's, first weekend, it's finished the first week into November. You're now allowed to have Christmas displays. Allowed. Of course, you can have them any time of year. There's no law against it. But what is the obsession with setting it up in October now? September ends, everyone's gone back to school for a month, and then suddenly, bam, Christmas. Do we not have enough time? Is there a shortage of turkeys? Will we run out of bread for stuffing? No? Then I'm fairly sure the plastic snowflakes will live in their box for another couple of weeks. It's something I've noticed. I mean, I greatly respect people who have their act together enough to be able to go Christmas shopping in November and sort everything out. Credit to you. I can't do it. I either go shopping the whole year round and you'll have a Christmas present in July because your birthday already went past, or you're not getting it until 2 weeks before when I finally put my finger on what you're getting, which is normally craft supplies, because it's what I'd buy myself. I'm a really lazy Christmas shopper. If I can get away with making it, I will. No homemade jumpers yet. I don't know how to knit well enough for that. Although I did complete my Doctor Who scarf, which is exciting. But yeah, I was sat in... it's called Yog Yums, but for future reference I will call it Froyo because it's frozen yogurt. I was sat in Yog Yums the other day looking at the display, and I'll admit, it was quite pretty. It's pretty well put together. It irked the friend I was with that half the lights weren't on the display, so 3/4 of the window was brightly lit up with stars, and they were bulby and beautiful, and then over the men's display it looked kind of sad and depressing because someone had clearly forgotten to flick a switch. Note out to people who work in Debenhams, your display's kind of wonky. But I think we need time just to let autumn be autumn, okay? November is still technically autumn because December, January, February, those are the 3 winter months. I know it feels like it should be September, October, November, December, January, February, but that's because we have the UK weather. Yeah, that was just a pointless ramble about something that irked me a little bit, because I love Red, but it's like listening to a song over and over and over again. There's only so many times you can hear it before going a little bit potty, or in this case, seeing it and becoming sick of it. But here's a song I haven't heard in a long time, on any radio station, although I did hear it on Smooth the other day. So if you've got a taste like me, check out Smooth. This is Owner of a Lonely Heart. Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes, which is one of those band names that gets confusing and turns into a comedic moment. Personally, my favourite version was done by, I think, Slappy Squirrel. Slappy Squirrel, I think, did it best. Animaniacs, classic one, and I've just realised that this isn't playing. So we'll be a little more professional and put our bedding music back. How's that? So we're coming up. We've got 10 minutes now. Thank you all for your requests. Anything that didn't get played, don't worry, it'll be on next week. So I'm going to play 2 songs back to back to finish up because, well, my throat hurts, and I think you'll excuse me this time. So we have here a very short track, which I love, and I believe actually Gwillem, the next host on for Rock the Radio, was my guest at the time when I played this. This is Ida Maria with I Like You So Much Better When You're Naked, and the fun thing about this singer is that she actually has synthesasia, which means that when she hears sound, she sees colours, which is really cool, which is why in the music video, if you look, there's 2 colour swatches, like a bright pink and a yellow, and those are the sounds that's what I made her think of. Cool little tidbit. And also a classic. Now, we've had Elvis, we've had a couple of other classics, some really old and groovy stuff, and I'm going to completely finish off the show with one of the kings, as in it's in his name. I'll be finishing off with Unforgettable by Nat King Cole. Brilliant track. So thank you all for joining me. It is now 10 to 9. This is Eclectic Airwaves with Georgia Brown signing off. Happy Monday, guys, and have a good rest of the week.